interns have understood because already 1,200 have applied. They just sit with the government. They have a return to work formula. Furthermore, yesterday I told the speaker, just take the initiative, sit with the doctors and draft a return to work formula. That's only what they want, so that we can now relieve our people from the pain they are going through.
All right, moving on this morning with our news. Former National Museum's Director General Mzalendo Kibunja, alongside 4 other suspects, have been released on a 5 shillings million bond. The suspects denied all the charges leveled against them in the 491 million shillings fraud case. The pre-trial is set for the 2nd of June 2024.
Former National Museums of Kenya Director General Mzalendo Kibunja was on Tuesday arraigned at the Milimani Law Courts over alleged embezzlement of public funds amounting to 491 million. Kibunja, alongside 4 other individuals, were arraigned before Senior Principal Magistrate Victor Wakumile, where they were charged with conspiracy to commit an offense of corruption, abuse of office, money laundering, acquisition of proceeds of crime, and financial misconduct between July 2016 and June 2022, among other counts. According to court documents, the 5 conspired to embezzle the amount by arranging to fraudulently include on the payroll the names of persons claimed to be employees of the National Museums of Kenya. However, they were released on a bond of 5 million shillings each.
Each accused person may be released on a cash bail of Kenya shillings 5 million or a bond of Kenya shillings 10 million, one surety-like amount. Number 2, each accused is hereby ordered to deposit his travel documents with the court. Number 3, upon disclosure, none of the accused persons should make any attempt to contact witnesses. Number 4, bond terms for accused number 4, 5, 6, 7, 3, and 8 are hereby consolidated.
The case is now set for pre-trial on the 2nd of June 2024.
The matter shall now be mentioned on 2nd June 2024 before court number 1. May 2024 before court number 1 for pre-trial conference. May.
Elsewhere, former Murang'a County Governor Mwangi wa Iria failed to present himself at the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission today regarding the embezzlement of 140 million shillings during his tenure as county chief. According to his lawyers, led by Siaya Governor James Sorengo, the former county chief will present himself before the commission tomorrow for questioning.
We have agreed with the Anti-Corruption Commission to present Governor Wairia tomorrow at 8 a.m. in the morning to start the process. I think they have made the position clear that that process is going to end up in court. And we have agreed that they will hold their horses until we bring Governor Wairia here tomorrow morning.
We would like to see more courtesy in terms of handling these matters, and would like to see that in future there is no need for harassment or embarrassment or intimidation of the leaders when there are matters such as this. Just an invite or summons to a particular place at a given time will do.
Ian Keitani, Lookuptv.
The Trade Industries and Cooperatives Committee has directed the National Cereals and Produce Board Managing Director Joseph Mumo and Kenya Bureau of Standards Managing Director Esther Ngari to appear before the committee in 7 days after the two were absent. With apologies, they had been summoned to shed light on the fake fertilizer distribution to farmers across the country, as Stanley Lugaria now files.
In his letter, the chief officer in CPB, Joseph Kimote, stated that he was under treatment until April 19, while his colleague of Quality Assurance KEBS, Esther Ngari, stated that her absence was as a result of another official meeting presided by President William Ruto, hence their unavailability for Tuesday's meeting to answer to fake fertilizer distribution to farmers in the country, which has proven to be a thorn in flesh.
Lest to recuperate. recommendations of duty from date 20/04/15 to date 20/24/04/19.
Members of the committee led by MP Marian Keitani slammed the letters of apologies, terming them unacceptable, stating that the witnesses should have been represented to answer against the national issue, criticizing them for buying more time as they seek to unravel the fake fertilizer which has left the agricultural sector hanging in between.
Government entities are continuous. There is no vacuum in a government entity. So when the MD of NCPB says he's sick, which he has attached as sick leave, there is someone who is standing in for him, acting as the MD at that particular instance.
The MD, because there are so many departments under him, and by now he would have identified where the rain started beating him and sent the people in those departments to come and face the committee and answer our questions.
The committee ordered the duo to appear before them within 7 days to submit on their distribution, which has disrupted the planting activities of some farmers who are counting losses after the distribution of fertilizer did not meet quality standards, as revealed by Agriculture CS Mithika Linturi while appearing before the Senate Agriculture Committee.
Caps, actually. I think they should take this case as very serious, because it's them who could have detected this matter, the fake fertilizer issue, before it went into circulation.
It is not NCPB. There are others, and it does not work in vacuum. If he will not be feeling well in the next 1 week, let him send the representatives.
CS Linturi apologized to farmers over the distribution and promised to compensate them even after he denied the existence of fake fertilizer in the country, as he ordered the closure of Kel Chemicals Company for manufacturing and distributing fertilizer that did not meet the quality standards set by KEBS authority.
Yeah? And the issues that make me appear or bring me here today are the issues that were raised on your letter, or in your letter dated 3rd April 2024.
Stanley Lugaria, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
Now, 7 family members who died in the Salama accident along Nairobi-Mombasa highway were laid to rest in Nakuru. As Martin Masharia now reports, the family is yet to come to terms with the tragic loss, as leaders called on the Ministry of Roads to step up efforts and enhance road safety across the country.
Esther Wanjiro Macharia, my cherished daughter.
In a somber ceremony marked by tears and sorrow, the community of Karirikani and Kuresoi North, Nakuru County, bid farewell to 7 beloved family members who perished in the Salama accident along the Nairobi-Mombasa highway. The victims identified as Francis Masharia, Irene Wangombe, and their 3 children, namely Joyce Werimo of 8 years, Lemi Masharia of 12 years, and Esther Wanjiro Masharia, were laid to rest amid these heart-wrenching scenes as friends, relatives, and officials gathered to pay their respects.
My cherished daughter was a radiant thread, illuminating our existence with her grace, kindness, and unwavering spirit. From her earliest days, she embodied resilience. Her laughter, a memory that danced through our home, bringing warmth and joy even in the darkest times.
Survivors of the tragic incident including Shadrach Mbao, Daniel Oshuri, Samuel Masharia, and James Karanja stood alongside the bereaved family, their presence a testament to the profound impact of the accident on the community. Water Cabinet Secretary Zach Njeru, Nakuru Governor Susan Kiheka, Kuresoi North MP Alfred Mutai, and several Nakuru MCAs joined the mourning, offering condolences and solidarity to those left behind.
Seme mimi pole sana kwa familia. Sana. You know, it's really overwhelming. Unajua sometimes hata mkiwachwa, like I've lost my father. Mkiwachwa na one family member, it's very difficult. Sasa najaribu kuimagine 7, I really cannot. I can't put myself in your shoes.
We wish we had just one more chance to see your tender smile, to laugh with you again, our dear sisters and brothers, just for a little while. Gone too soon, but not forgotten. forever you will remain.
The tragedy has cast a shadow over the close-knit community, underscoring the fragility of life and the devastating consequences of road accidents. As the sun sets on Karirikania, echoes of grief lingered, reminding all present of the preciousness of every moment and the importance of coming together in times of sorrow. Martin Masharia, Lookuptv.
The government has announced a nationwide enforcement initiative to address the rising cases of livestock theft and enhance food security. Coordinated by the Ministry of Interior and National Administration, the exercise will involve key stakeholders including the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, Ministry of Health and county governments. Speaking at the Kenya School of Government during a high-level multi-agency security workshop, Interior Permanent Secretary Raymond Omolo highlighted the urgent need for action, citing an increase in livestock theft, unregulated trade in animal products, and contamination of food leading to fatalities in the country.
Earlier this year, a directive was issued to enforce existing rules and regulations in the livestock sector, and today we will be beginning that RRI to make sure that there is compliance with those directives. Now, at the county level, the county commissioners are expected to establish the multi-agency teams that are composed of all the players from the National Police Service, including the DCI, the NIS, the National Government Administration officers, the county public health officers, our colleagues within the veterinary services, and to also be able to co-opt other relevant regulatory agencies with specific terms of reference so that then we are able to enforce the same. And among the deliverables, which have largely been highlighted by my PS colleague, is to ensure that livestock facilities undergo inspections and are compliant with applicable rules and regulations. The multi-agency teams are also tasked to identify hotspots for illegal slaughter of all livestock and to arrest the culprits while dismantling all the criminal syndicates involved. History of animals and particularly donkeys with regards to our level of development, not just as a country but as a continent.
Deputy President Gachagua has affirmed the government's commitment to ensuring the affordable housing program is realized. Speaking during a visit at the Majimbo Affordable Housing Program in Embu, the Deputy President highlighted the gains registered in the affordable housing program, with thousands acquiring jobs. Shamila Baraza reports.
The affordable housing plan remains a crucial agenda for the Kenya Kwanza government as the construction of houses in different parts of the country takes course. Speaking during an inspection of affordable housing in Majimbo, Embu County, Deputy President Gachagua noted that since the start of the project, they have recorded great success.
Tulikuwa hapa and the progress I have seen, naona ni kazi nzuri. Tunataka tuseme contractor asante sana. Pia tumefurahi kupata watu wengi sana wamepata ajira hapa. Hii program ya affordable housing, na rais alieleza lengo lake ni mara mbili. One, watu wapate nyumba nzuri za kukaa, lakini sana sana sikijengwa vijana wetu na wamama wapate ajira.
The DP also challenged the youth who are already constructed at the site to ensure they acquire certificates for their informally acquired skills, adding that the government has initiated the recognition of prior learning framework to help them in certifying their knowledge.
Iko program tumeanzisha juzi inaitwa recognition of prior learning. Muko na ujuzi lakini wengine hamuna karatasi, si ndio? Lakini mkiwekwa hata na watu ya diploma ya degree muko mbele, si ndio? Kwa sababu mmejifundisha kazi.
Rigathi emphasized that the project is playing a big role in the fight against illicit abuse and substance abuse, as many youths are fully engaged in the program, indicating that youths were taking alcohol because they didn't have work to engage in, adding that the fight against illicit abuse will not stop until they have fully dealt with the menace.
This program of affordable housing itatusaidia sana kwa mambo ya drug and substance abuse, so that our young people are busy and they have gainful employment. na kwa hivyo hii program tutaendelea naye.
Shamila Baraza, Lookuptv.
Right, moving on, this morning, Samburu County government has distributed 950 camels to residents in efforts to combat acute drought in the area. Speaking during the distribution exercise, Governor Lati Leleit noted the government is committed to ensuring sustainability of the livelihoods and food security.
In an ongoing project to cushion herders in Samburu who have lost their cattle and goats to prolonged drought, Samburu Governor Lati Leleit has distributed another 950 camels that can produce more yields of milk to the pastoral communities.
Ngamia tunapeana kwa sababu ya maneno ya climate change. Vile climate change imeingia dunia na inasumbua, mpaka mvua ile ilikuwa inapatikana, siku hizi hatujui inapatikana lini, inakosekana lini. Ndio unaona tunapeana ngamia, kwa sababu ngamia ni mnyama ambaye inaweza hata wakati hakuna mvua, ndio watoto waweze kupata maziwa, wamama waweze kupata maziwa, watu wazee waweze kupata maziwa, kwa sababu wazee na watoto na wamama hawezani kuandamana na ng'ombe wakati ng'ombe inaenda malishoni mahali mbalimbali. Na ndio unaona hii kazi tutaendelea. Tumepeana ngamia 950 mwaka huu.
The residents have lauded the county governor for the camels after climate change adversely affected the livelihood, adding that they have been empowered economically.
Kwa sababu ya county government, gavana wangu Lelelit kwa kutupatia ngamia, kwa sababu ya climate change, tunashukuru kwa sababu ya gavana, kwa sababu ama county government, kwa sababu ameona hii climate change imelete shida. Kuna mali kama ng'ombe haiwezani na hii ukame, na akaona fadhali atuletee ngamia, and that's why sasa tumekuwa na hii ngamia tumeletewa, na tumepata hata ngamia mingi leo. Hatujaipata ngamia kiasi.
Last year hakuna siku ndoto wao wameaifaidika kupata ngamia mingi kuliko trip hii. So nashukuru sana, waendelee kufanya kazi, wasaidie wananchi, pia Mungu atawasaidia, waendelee kuleta maendeleo zaidi.
Ibikadenyi for the bottom line.
Kitengela residents have raised concern over raw sewer water which flows directly to the roads, exposing them to serious health risks. They are not blaming authorities for allowing building owners to construct buildings with poor drainage systems. This and more stories this morning on our roundup with Majid Hussain.
A spot check outside various apartments within the populous Kitengela town paints a picture of disturbing menace that exposes tenants to health hazard. Choking stench emanating from the sewer lines, residents accusing public health officials and the police for being reluctant in taking actions against rogue landlords.
Definitely we are foreseeing a situation whereby cholera and many other diseases will be rampant around because of what is happening. People releasing sewer freely, even on daytime, without fear. They are just pumping their raw sewage to the road.
In other news, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has said that there is urgent need to speed up action to end conflict in Sudan, which has gone on for too long. Speaking in Paris, France, during the ministerial meeting for advancing the Sudan peace initiatives, Mudavadi termed the violence as a stumbling block for opportunities for Sudanese people, particularly for children.
This visit was a session convened by the government of France, Germany, and the European Union, primarily to get the world to focus on the tragedy that continues to evolve in Sudan.
Finally, Bungoma County Minister of Education David Mamalili has dismissed the claims of the former county governor Wycliffe Wangamati that the current government of Governor Lusaka removed the students who were on the Bungoma scholarship, despite him leaving the Department of Education with 500 million shillings. The minister has rubbished it as baseless politics.
Baadhi ya hela ambayo nasema kwamba tulikuwa na hela milioni 524 na hatukuzipeleka shuleni. Ningependa kusema kwamba si sahihi.
Majid Hussein, Lookuptv.
So we talk about this morning, deep conversations, but top of that is a doctor strike that we have to keep on referencing to every other time we start our show this morning. We're going to reference that. Also, the holes that have been punched into the school fee payment plan by the Kenya Kwanza government. But then top of that, let's make sense of this bromance between Gachagua and Wetangula. Are they looking forward to 2027? And if so, what's going to be the implication of that? Once we come back right here on the Morning Drift. The hashtag is the Morning Drift. My name is Simba Elijah Charles Kiag.
Once again, tuko hapa Angel Center for Abandoned Kids, all because of you.
My name is Catherine Wanjiru. I am the admin, Angel Center for Abandoned Children. Our founder is Wamaitha Mwangi. We currently have 64 children, 32 going to school, and among those 32, 2 are special children, and we are left at the home with 32. Now the toddlers and the infants. To the RUTO Foundation, thank you so much for remembering us. Guy, we lack words. We lack words. Amazing. We don't know what to say. Thank you for remembering us. You made a promise and you have delivered. And may God bless you. To my fellow Kenyans, as usual, cheza loto, sio ndoto. Angel Center tumeshinda loto.
Every time you play Lotto, 25% goes to the RUTO Foundation, which supports our fellow Kenyans through various causes. Thank you for your help. Together, we are changing lives.
Buy Credo Chap Chap across all networks bila stress. Go to M-Pesa paybill number 33000 na uweke account number yako na namba ya simu that you want to recharge. It's quick, convenient and hassle-free. In just a few clicks, buy airtime, M-Pesa paybill 33000. Account, your number to stay topped up and connected anytime, anywhere, chap chap. Come, let us show you place sport to build your dream home in Baraka Garden, situated just 5.4 kilometers from Blue Post Junction along the Thika Gatura Road. Place finest with secure gated community, Majina Stima Eco on-site, Usitans na stories za title deeds ziko ready. Plus, flexible payment plans and financing options. Pay 30% and clear the rest in installments. Get in touch, twende site visit. For more information, contact 0794 333 222 or 0722 668 700 or visit our website www.mahasibuhousing.co.ke. Experience the beauty of Baraka Gardens today. Next on Hapa Kazi Tu.
Leo tunaangazia biashara ya picha, photography.
Ndio nishike kamera yangu ya kwanza, nilikuwa nimeenda studio kupigwa passport. Ukiwa na passion utajua. Hii nataka tu kuwa na passion na patient sana ujue kudeal na client. Unajua utakuletwa client, all the type of client. Basi vile tulikuwa tunasema ati utakuja studio jua una nguo. We got you. Ziko.
Hapa kazi tu.
Lazima like uanze studio na kila kitu. Kamera na unajua kupiga picha na unajua setting, you are good to go. Yeah.
Hapa Kazi Tu, every Friday at 8 p.m.
Save a Life is a non-profit organization that has taken the front line in transforming lives in the entire country. So far, we have transformed life of over 100,000 people through our programs, which include medical support, youth empowerment, street family program, feeding program, and climate change. Join us today as we transform lives. As we always say, service to humanity is service to God. Save a life, transforming lives.
Come, let us show you place poor to build your dream home in Baraka Gardens, situated just 5.4 kilometers from Blue Post Junction along the Thika Gatura Road. Place finest with secure gated community, Majina Steamer Eco on-site, Usitans na stories za title deeds ziko ready. Plus, flexible payment plans and financing options. Pay 30% and clear the rest in installments. Get in touch, 20 site visit. For more information, contact 0794 333 222 or 0722 668 700 or visit our website www.mahasibuhousing.co.ke. Experience the beauty of Baraka Gardens today.
All your social media platforms. My name is Simba Elijah Charles Kiage as we wait for our guests to walk into the studio this morning. Let's then introduce the gentleman who was already in the studio for this conversation. Sankara, how are you doing, sir?
I'm fine, Simba.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you around. I mean, it started raining a lot, so we were told that you have to be happy by seeing somebody, because we are losing a lot of people to accidents and floods currently as it is in the country.
You know, floods, I'm told it's courtesy of prayers. The people want us to believe that weather patterns are attached to spiritual intervention. Well, we know the power of God, but again,
yes,
why God only one side? Why should you even hold a Thanksgiving ceremony when people have died? I don't know, are you thanking the dead? Should it be a Thanksgiving ceremony, or there's a term I used to describe it while having the same chat with a friend of mine.
Yes.
But it ought not to have been a Thanksgiving ceremony, because I don't know who is being thanked in this case. Even God is not happy when he's losing his own very young people. These accidents, I think they're now becoming too much. I was just going through a live funeral process in Nakuru yesterday.
Yeah.
Where 7 family members were being laid to rest. That was the most unfortunate thing that would ever happen to anyone. And I believe the family members are extremely traumatized. We still see clueless CS talking of having a strategic plan. You don't need strategic plans to end road accidents. All we need is action and accountability. We need people to do what they are doing. Whenever I'm traveling across this city, all I see is uniformed traffic police officers acting like the biblical tax collectors. They are so swift when it comes to picking bribes than when it comes to checking the safety of a vehicle. Most traffic police officers, and for God's sake, I travel frequently across the country. I've never seen at any point a traffic checkpoint where the police are seriously scrutinizing the wheels, especially for the PSVs. All they do is they move in a particular direction. On the left, if the vehicle has a tout, on the left of the entrance, or if the tout is not there, they go to the driver's screen. Those insurance stickers are not put on the right side of the windscreen. They are always to the left. What is it doing on the right? Picking their bribe. I once went to Nakuru. Then I went in a personal car, and then because of my schedules, I had to come back and leave my colleagues. So I had to use a matatu. And for that case, I boarded some unknown matatu. This guy carried excess. This guy carried some stuffs on top of the roof car. And from my basic physics in high school, there is what we call center of curvature. The COG of that vehicle, it loses balance the moment we have too much weight on top. And imagine the strangest part of it all is when you just exiting Nakuru roundabout towards Nairobi. Some of the luggage fell off. This happened next to a police officer. The guy had to stop instantly because the passengers were complaining, my luggages, we are losing our luggages. And then guess what happened? I thought the blue man would come and insist on the safety of passengers. To my surprise, the guy picked his due. I wasn't in a position to take a photo. I would have taken his photo and shared it virally.
Yes.
So the guy took his due, and the tout was very, courageous. He was saying, there's nothing they can do. Hawa tutawapanga. So the route in public sector do not require strategic plan. The route in public sector, Michuki never drew any strategic plan. Michuki implemented what was already there. Maybe by a little extension, he just adjusted. We keep on speaking of people who have delivered. Today, I remember the late Her Excellency, the First Lady to the late President Mwai Kibaki. She was not just a prayer warrior. She is a real human being who understands that prayer without action is dead. She used to confront ministers within the government.
Yes.
I remember a particular case when the lion, we used to refer to as the lioness, she rode and called to order the then Minister for Roads, Professor George Saitoti. Today we have a First Lady who is offering prayers when actions are needed. We know God is there. We are religious, but I would tell the First Lady to be a bit creative and innovative when it comes to dealing with practical problems. You don't need to go to God. God is busy. We are 6 billion people on earth. You are praying to God here for things that you can do. Why should you subject God to safety concerns when we have the police on the road, we have the NTSA, we have we should start with the driving schools. I have gone to an NTSA test. Then you realize someone has been in class for 2 months and cannot even start an automatic car. This is someone who is presenting herself or himself as a professional driver immediately after being given interim driving license. So this route comes all the way from the driving schools as well. They have a portion to contribute in this. Not all of them are strict. And I went to a driving school that you could not go on an open shoe. There was a time I tried to walk in with an open shoe in the afternoon. The instructor was a young man and is my good friend. He taught me how to drive professionally. That guy told me, we are sorry, Sankara. We are not going to bend rules to suit your circumstances. Go dress well. I had to go back, and this is my age mate, you know, and I loved it because that is the culture we want, not a culture where I tell the instructor, I have some lunch for you, and then you just continue doing that. So, digital driving school did some good job to me, and I believe people must always respect rules. So, these road carnages, I'm just sick and tired of talking about them. I would wish that NTSA gives me a responsibility today, just one day, and ensure that I'm well protected. I will deal with these guys. I will deal with them once and for all. We can't lose people daily, and NTSA is here talking about road safety. What are they saving?
NTSA, if you're listening, then you have your solution right here. Anyway, Sankara, just before we get into our deep conversation this morning, there's something that we always have to do a watch over, is the doctor strike. And there's already a build-up to this particular issue, because indeed Nakumincha has been speaking on this particular story, where Health CS Susan Nakumincha has urged doctors to embrace dialogue and end the strike, which actually enters day 37 today. Speaking in Kajiado County, the CS assured the public that the standoff between the government and the doctors will be sorted out in a few days. This was our first story this morning, which is going to also make the back end of our conversation this morning. Let's take a look at this particular one. Once we come back, then Sankara and I will quickly weigh on it before we jump into our major conversation. Let's take a look.
I want to assure you and assure the public in Kenya that as a government, we are working around the clock to ensure an amicable and lasting solution is reached. What we do not want to do as a government is to put a bandage on a wound without treating it. That is why we are taking our time. And since morning, I have had 3 meetings, and I want to assure Kenyans that this situation is going to be in control. If not tomorrow, in the next few days, we are going to reach an agreement. Therefore, I want to ask of the doctors that we serve a common patient. Ask of them that the government has extended an olive branch. The government has given them an offer. It is up to them to come to the table and we discuss their counter offer. We are willing.
Request and to urge our doctors, because the issue of internship is somehow sorted halfway, because most of the interns had understood the concept whereby if we want to take 1,200 interns and pay them 206,000, we'll be able to only manage maybe 400. Therefore, that's why the government is requesting, let's work with enough money that is available. And if we want to take them with the 206,000, it requires 16 billion, which is not available. Mine is to request our doctors, we just beseech them. Our people are dying, people are suffering a lot. And because the interns have understood, because already 1,200 have applied, they just sit with the government, they have a return to work formula. Furthermore, yesterday I told the speaker, just take the initiative, sit with the doctors and draft a return to work formula. That's only what they want, so that we can now relieve our people from the pain they are going through.
That's it. And if you listen to that, also the COG, if you can again, Paul, you can take us to the Daily Nation or the Standard this morning, so we can see exactly what they're talking about, this particular headline. And you could see the COG, that is Anno Waiguru, the front page of majority of the newspapers this morning, where she's talking about how indeed they are ready for that. But if the doctors essentially get that CBA signed, then the counties have to ask the national government for more money if indeed they're going to pay this particular doctor. Sankara, just quickly before we jump into our main conversation this morning. I mean, CS Nakumincha has been quite silent on this particular issue up until yesterday when she spoke in Kajiado. Are you satisfied with that particular response right there? That they want dialogue? There's an olive branch that has been extended. It's like you get off the street, we sit at the table and negotiate.
Nakumincha can do better while she is silent, because anytime she speaks, things get even worse. You know, there are people who can do better when they keep quiet, because the moment they open their mouth, I mean, things go hayway. Nakumincha is maybe passing the right information to the wrong people. The venue of addressing this medics has been my issue. You find Nakumincha addressing doctors in a funeral. Doctors don't attend funerals. Even if they attend, I'm saying doctors don't attend funerals in strict regards to professionalism. They don't work in those funerals.
Is it true that any chance she gets now, she has to speak about it regardless of where she is?
I mean, she's misguided. All she's saying is like beating a drum to a goat. Industrial action ain't a new concept. This is not something that's only happening in Kenya. It has happened elsewhere. What matters most is the attitude. That has always been my focal point.
Yes.
The arrogance, the ignorance that the CS handled this strike when it started, I think has exhibited this strike to this level. Everyone is chest thumping. You don't chest thump to a professional. The police, they're using the police to intimidate the doctors. Some are even hiring goons to go and disrupt them. I mean, instead of deploying police to disrupt protesters, as Kome was saying, he will crush them, why don't you then deploy the police with their gun to go and treat patients in the hospital? It can make some sense, because they believe they can use force. And if they have the manpower, the police are there. Just equip every police officer with a very sharp shooting gun, deploy them in various hospitals so that they can protect patients from dying from diseases. Instead of going to disrupt doctors, Mabati system can never work. Management by threats and intimidations. Even myself, if I believe that what I'm in pursuit of is the ultimate right thing, no matter what amount of threats you amount, I will never be subdued, because at the end of the day, we are all mortal human beings. Yeah, even the most powerful, the most protected people die and they are buried lonely with their skeletons in the grave. So people should know that power is transient. What we shall remember Nakumincha for being one of the most incompetent, less informed, and a careless CS in the ministry.
Yes.
This is a delicate professional field that do not require political razzmatazz. It requires professionalism, the attitude of listening, the attitude of speaking with each other, not speaking to each other. So this attitude of lecturing doctors left, right, and center,
yes,
if they have the capacity, I mean, using the police is the worst strategy that they would employ, because the police cannot protect patients with their guns from diseases.
Yes.
If that is possible, I dare Nakumincha, I dare Kome, I dare President William Ruto to order deployment of GSU, elite shooting squad, and Reke squad to various hospitals in this country so that they protect patients from dying because of diseases. We must appreciate things. You don't tell people, get off the streets. Doctors know that politicians are conmen. Yes, that is the truth. The art of conmanship, that as it happens in political conmanship, it goes there. You tell someone, you are striking, what you want, we can't afford. We won't pay you. Not that we can't afford, by the way. We can't pay you. That is too much. You abandon industrial action, then we can talk. That is not, it's like using a bait to trap a bird.
Yes. Does it make sense to some extent that you're not here for us to talk to you, so you got to come back to the negotiating table, and that means that you got to get off the streets?
Well, it depends on the what, the why.
Yes.
Why have we ended up to where we are today? They never gave dialogue an opportunity at first.
Yes.
You cannot issue 1909 strike notices and you don't intervene. Then when I execute, you tell me to abandon what I'm doing, then you come to the table. in political science, if diplomacy fails, war begins. So doctors are just doing what is rightfully theirs. The right to fair pay has no connection with the austerity measures. Whether the government is bankrupt or not, the right to fair pay is enshrined locally, regionally, and internationally. These are human rights that Kenya is a statutory member to. There is no problem with people sitting on the table. But how are we going to sit on the table? The other side, the IG thinks that doctors and diseases are like bandits in North Rift, where you need to intimidate them that I'll crush you. Let him go as the IG. I dare President William Ruto today. Deploy IG Kome to surgery wards in Kenyatta. Let him do what he can do there. I mean, we don't need to work with people with thorax. I don't really entertain a conversation where someone feels like power gets into your mind until you forget that the person you are addressing took their time, almost 6 years. Doctors are not trained to become interns. Professionals, they will tell you. I even overheard one of their seniors who tutters the doctors. She said it clearly. We don't train medical interns. We train doctors. So the argument of being an intern or what is neither here nor there. I personally have had a patient in a regional facility. I can attest to the work these interns do. Actually, they're the ones running the hospitals. Even the consultants are never in those consultation rooms. I can tell you, go to any public hospital today, look at the list of people on queue waiting to see the consultants. The people who do the junk work are these interns. So we cannot disrespect professionalism while we embrace, or what culture are we trying to inculcate in young people? You find a doctor now telling a school kid in a school attire. I saw that video. Usikue daktari, usikue daktari. Where are we headed to as a nation? And then someone is seated pretty addressing doctors from funerals. She should address the dead if she has no audience or podium to address doctors. I want to see Nakumincha addressing, just like Kagwe used to do his things. You know, Kagwe, in as much as he had his shortcomings as a CS, but you need to know how to manage people. This is where we get it wrong, when you just pick any Tom and Jerry from unknown quarters and then you give them very sensitive responsibilities to undertake. These are people who have never worked with human beings anyway. They think human beings are in their mindset. What they think is what they should do. No. Learn to engage people. Learn to sit with people. Learn to empathize and sympathize. Learn to be remorseful. Show doctors that you care. By the IG not speaking, by SSC not giving circulations, contradicting story, a government working in different dimensions. The other one is sorting it. They're claiming we are looking at this as a government. Then SRC comes with another notice. The IG comes with another notice. The court notice is here. But the most important court notice was implement the CBO.
Yes,
so if that was not respected, I think that is the ground doctors are holding to disregard return to work court order. Yes.
Pretty much. But just quickly on that as well, Sankara, you see exactly what the COG is saying right there in that particular story. It's a story, again, that was covered on the front page of the Daily Nation and the Standard as well. Paul, if you can put up any of those so we can see exactly what she's saying. She's saying, oh, hold on, it's fine that the government can do whatever it is that they want to do. But then at the end of the day, because the county governments are the ones that pay these monies to the doctors, it means that once the government agrees with the doctors on a return to work formula or a new CBA, they need more money in the county governments. As it is currently, county governments are demanding 425 billion shillings in equitable share, which was essentially the biggest rallying call at the 19th Ordinary Session of the Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Council, EBC, on 2023 February. They're saying, well, fine, you go get a deal with your national government. But remember, you also tell them that these counties don't have this money to pay, so give them the 425 billion shillings that they have been asking for?
I think devolving health was not a good idea. If there's something that we ought not to have devolved, is health and maybe education. This should have remained a national government responsibility. Because now you see the confusion here. They're telling you that we are not the employers, we are employed by counties.
County government, yes.
Then the counties are telling you that, you know what, we are not in capacity, we don't have the financial capacity to meet this demand. So go back to our bosses. Tell them that in as much as the deal may be good, then we need that thing in our pocket. So why should we devolve health then? Let this thing remain a national government prerogative so that we avoid these little confusions, because a lot is being stolen than what should be helping the ordinary citizens. I understand that upon the assumption of devolution, we've recorded significant growth, especially in the numbers of hospitals in the country. Even when it comes to the number of doctors, they have increased. So what I can urge the COG is, these people have already thrown in the towel. So this strike is not ending any soon, because the government is not going to sign a get-to-back strategy with doctors, and the counties who are now the purported employers are saying, we don't have this money. This is going to have a ripple effect on the county financial operations, and especially the stipend for other employees. Yes. So we cannot really entertain this talk. Then what is the way forward? Are doctors going to continue with the end industrial action while the government is striking? Are we going to continue losing Kenyans? You know, people who are attached to patients or who have patients in the hospital are the ones feeling this pain. Walking into an hospital, the laboratory is not functional. You can't see the OPD functional. There is nothing that is in progress. And those who are working, they're just attending to already inpatients who are within the facilities. It is a very tricky situation because Kenyans are dying in private facilities. Kenyans are dying at home. Kenyans are dying because they've given up. They've lost hope. The responsibility of a president is to safeguard lives. Safeguarding lives do not translate to protecting us against external aggression and internal terrorism. Yes. Even right to affordable, reliable health care still falls within the rights, the responsibilities of an head of state. So when the president is also just politicizing this health matter, I don't foresee the strike ending any soon. That is my conclusion. Because what would have, the indicators are still where they are, that they are pointing at a direction that no one is going to let go. Everyone has maintained their position. So who is going to bend for the other to have their way out? So I think it is high time that the government has a lot of money, Simba. Me, I know, I can tell you. The government is rich. The problem is that there are people who want to make us believe that the government is poor. And our government has no money. That money is ours. You look at the business daily, the taxes the government collects on a daily basis and the expenses. But when a government has money, let government pay doctors. I would want my son to be a doctor, and I don't want to have this conversation 20 years to come that doctors cannot be paid. Pay doctors so that you encourage our children to go for this professional work and to dedicate themselves while attending to citizens of the Republic of Kenya.
That's it. Here's the thing, just before we run out of this particular issue, I want to read for you one quote by Samson Cherargei, Senator. He's saying, I was never paid a penny during pupillage, but doctors who are interns who are not yet qualified doctors are paid 70,000 shillings. If you have to pay intern doctors, this is what he's saying, we must pay other professionals as well, engineers, even pastors, clergy and priests who are still training so that we are fair in this country.
There is nothing wrong with that. Even me, when I was doing my industrial attachment, our organization was good enough. The boss would see into it that They understand. I commute on a daily basis. I have to dress well to look professional in that office.
Yes.
Kwani mimi ni kuna miujiza. There is no miracle. It is all about money. So let us pay everyone.
So you got no problem. That is right to say that.
He has a right to say that, but not to exacerbate already escalated problem by trying to create an antagonistic approach to this, because now they want to incite everyone to demand for a pay. Just incite them, Mr. Cherargei, but you must pay doctors. The reign started with the doctors, finish up with doctors, then go to engineers. And they should not even tell us that. For how many years has he been a senator? Which bill has Cherargei sponsored to safeguard the interest of sprouting careers? No, nothing. So these are mere politics. Treat Cherargei's statement as a mere UDA campaign strategy, trying to woo doctors. They think that politics finds its way everywhere. If he is so genuine about what he's saying, then now I would be going to the Parliamentary Bills website and seeing Cherargei sponsoring a motion to ensure that every attaché, every intern, not even an intern alone, we even want those students on attachment to be paid. You are not taking comrades. You know, comrades do not go to school to start becoming beggars. We are going to school to offer services and get paid. Just as we equip them with knowledge,
yes,
I also help them know how to learn how to earn. Please don't teach students how to work without telling them how to earn while working. Just pay them so that they also learn how to earn while learning how to work. It is very fair. But for Cherargei, I find sense in what he's saying. The only problem I have is the timing of his pronouncements. Otherwise, don't teach children how to work without pay. Equip them with skills and knowledge professionally, while also reducing the proximity between their location and the bank, telling them how money looks when you work hard in your profession. Don't just tell us, work. Where are we taking those skills if you don't pay us? Money and skills, they should work in tandemly. Not telling us to go and study or be an intern. Who will work as an intern forever? Everyone wants to get a stable payment. Everyone wants to get a stable job. Give me the skill, accompany the skills with some little coins so that I know how to earn and oil my pocket while working so hard. I think that is fair enough.
Pretty much. Guess what? On that particular note then, that the final sentiments, and Sankara, I want to take you just a minute so we can then jump into our big conversation. Paul, again, if you can take us back to the Daily Nation this morning again. Members of Parliament now have looked at Dr. William Ruto's plan of having school fee paid via the 22222 payable number. They've stopped it. They've said, unless and until we are sure that these schools are going to receive timely monies, please do not continue with this process.
And they are just agreeing.
You and I spoke here about this particular issue when it was first proposed. Do they agree with you? And
actually,
yes,
the MPs have now thought like myself. You know, most of us, leaders are actually outside Parliament. So the MPs have thought like myself. They've actually agreed and gave in to what I used to say.
Yes.
That we know government with the disease of late reimbursements. I even gave a clear example of how government remits funds almost towards the end of the term, and then because that money has not been used, it has to go back to where? To the treasury. So the school programs are going and covered, then money is there but it comes late. So I gave even an example, and this is a meeting I had with my parents where I am a PA board member at Migingo Girls in Kisumu, and I was asking parents, the government is telling us to pay fees via e-citizens. I asked them, how many of you have smartphones? By a show of hands. How accessible are you to internet from where you are? The answers were very clear. The parents were asking, we have alternative fee payment methods where I take my log of wood to the school to be used as fuel for cooking for these kids. Then that money is translated to my school child school fee account. I was asking them, how are we going to insert these logs into e-citizen account? Because now it's a government to parent. Yes. You pay, you get the services. How? The how was missing. There was no clear framework. So I want to thank our MPs for the first time. I've had a positive news from Kenya Kwanza administration that MPs have unanimously said no. That is now the role of a legislator: oversight, representation, and legislation. So these unfair legislations, it is the responsibility of a paid-up member of parliament to stand for and by the voice of their people. So that was very in order. President must know that this is not a country that you can just wake up and think of something when you have been misadvised by a group of people and think that 50 million Kenyans will give in. Sisi wa Kenya ni wale tumejua na tumejipanga. Si rais alituambia tupangwingwi. Yes, we acknowledge what is right, we accept. What is going to mess us, we say no. Now I'm even worried with the CBC, with the confusion going on. Those kids, when we are going to have kids very soon, I mean, how are they going to progress and with their education? It's becoming a national worry because the mode the government has employed in dealing with CBC is worrying. It's like they're using these kids as specimen.
Yes.
And you heard that these are things that were wrote by someone who doesn't even understand what happens locally. So you import a foreign education curriculum, you bring it here, you have no requisite resources to implement it. Teachers have not been trained. Teachers have not been posted. There is no classrooms. There are no learning materials. I mean, it is just hell on earth. I don't want my kid to go through this problem. If 844 produced William RUTO as the president, I think it is fair enough. If he's not ready to implement CBC, its finality, wacha tukai kwenye tulikuwa. There's no need for confusion.
Guess what? At this particular point, then I would like us to jump into our main conversation this morning with Sankara right here on the Morning Drift. Now, there's just a lot that has been going around in the country politically, but there's a headline that grabbed political enthusiasts and analysts alike, and this is a thing, or is a headline that we spoke about yesterday up to where we are right now. Now, it's coming out clearly that even as the UDA party is looking forward to their party elections, in between there are individuals, including the deputy party leader in that matter, who are essentially asking themselves, what is in for us in a 2027? Yesterday we sort of teased it, and today I want to talk about that particular subject with Sankara here on it. And Sankara, this is the question then. Wetangula and one DP Rigathi Gachagua. Well, the newspapers ran that particular headline saying, well, there's some gentlemen who might be united by fear. Fear of what? And what do you make of this bromance now between Rigathi Gachagua and Moses Wetangula? What are they looking at in respect of a 2024?
Until December 1991, Kenya was until December 1991, Kenya was a one-party state.
Yes.
Upon the promulgation of the repeal of Section 2A of the Independence Constitution, multipartyism was reintroduced. Before I respond to your issue, I've been asking myself, in whose interest are these party mergers beneficial to? Because in this amorphous coalition called Kenya Kwanza, I'm saying amorphous because in the registry of the political parties, or RPP, we don't have Kenya Kwanza as a registered coalition. No, it's not a coalition of political parties. So even if it was a coalition of political parties, then it would have flopped, because the primary definition of a coalition of political parties is that it's registered by several political parties. So when the call and push to merge, to fold these parties and join one UDA surfaces over and over, I ask myself, so these guys could marshal efforts to win elections with these parties intact, then fail to deliver the mandate after elections, and now demand that the parties must fold. If this is an idea that is good for democracy, they would have, then this push would have been before elections. They know what? There is no Kenya Kwanza coalition. You fold your small village parties, join UDA, let's make it a strong party. The bromance between Moses Wetangula and the DP Rigathi Gachagua is a bromance of, created by circumstances. The prevailing circumstances only points at a direction where Wetangula must work together with Rigathi Gachagua, because there seems to be the isolated ions within the Kenya Kwanza spectrum.
Yes.
Yeah. And Mudavadi, just as we've always known him, is a man who has never struggled for anything. I can tell you that confidently. So when the president has already given him a position that is neither here nor there, that is within the constitution, we don't have the position of a prime minister. Because in the structure of governance today, we don't have that. So he is battling with the thought of me refusing to fold the ANC, the president firing me as a prime cabinet secretary, and then because I don't have numbers in parliament, he marshaled support to impeach me on gross areas of impeachment.
Yes.
So Musalia, I think Kenya Kwanza is a coalition that is bound by fear of the unknown. Wetangula on the other side, me being a speaker, my selected people, because we know Nakumincha is Wetangula's right hand woman, because she's there courtesy of Wetangula. This is not in the public domain,
yes,
but that ministry, in the agreement, it is Wetangula who was given. And that's why you'll see Wetangula tagging along Nakumincha in funerals while doctors are striking.
When you particularly look at this bromance now.
So this bromance.
Yes. What for? But this gentleman are settled correctly within the UDA party. And they are there within this Kenya Kwanza, within Kenya Kwanza. I mean, they got proper positions. One is a DP, one is a Speaker of the National Assembly. I mean, when you look at it, it is number 2 and 3 that are getting together. Why?
That is an alarm in the functionality of government.
Yes.
That tells you that truly there's accusations or the alleged statements of executive usurpation of government, devolved government powers is a reality.
Yes.
That shots are only called from one quarter, the executive, and not by anyone, the president.
Also.
So not Musalia, sorry, he's my friend and former colleague.
Exactly.
So I tend to mention him severally. So Wetangula and Rigathi Gachagua are working out of frustration and fear of unknown. Because I was saying, should Wetangula fold Kenya, then he is the speaker. And maybe it's a plan to hedge them out of government. Then he gets impeached. Because when an impeachment motion is brought against Wetangula today, he will go. He will go because he has no numbers. Go to not Moses Mudavadi, Musalia Mudavadi. He has no numbers in parliament. I think you only have 2 seats or 1 out of the many seats we have. These are men who are working out of fear.
Yes.
So should he fail to fold this,
yes,
it will affect him. But now for Rigathi Gachagua and Wetangula, these guys are frustrated. The bromance is just an alliance to absorb the shock that is coming from within, because it is clear enough that someone wants them out.
That's it. But when you look at Rigathi Gachagua's position now, or plight within the UDA party, I mean, You and I have been on this set against Sankara and spoken about how the president has come in to tell the boys in court that they were mentoring to take up leadership positions within the party to shut up, because he's not been liking how they've been going or talking about taking that particular position for deputy president, for deputy party leader. One. Number two, it's clearly known that Rigathi Gachagua doesn't want any other person to threaten the status quo within the party. Is it an indication that indeed the push by the president, Rigathi Gachagua, has not been that successful? And if so, how do you rate a duet of Moses Wetangula and Rigathi Gachagua in 2027, or the build-up to 2027?
Now let me talk from Gen Z perspective. Rigathi Gachagua and Moses Wetangula in 2027, when we are given the power to choose, they are nobodies. We will show them dust. That is from a Gen Z perspective. And now,
yes, from the reality perspective, yes.
With Raila in government and William Ruto at the helm of power, Rigathi Gachagua and Wetangula combined cannot do nothing. Remember, Wetangula said the Tawe movement you are seeing in Western Kenya.
Yes.
If you really want to know that Wetangula is a man under siege, the Tawe movement, he said, no, Natambea has no money to mobilize all this. This is not a county money. It seems to be coming from somewhere. So Wetangula is facing rebellion at home and facing rebellion away from home. So he only has two options: to refuse and get finished, or to comply and survive. It is simple. All this Tawe movement you're seeing, well, Tawe movement is an idea which is ripe based on how politics is in this country. But the rebellion that Weta and Musalia are facing from Western is something to worry them. And now with the push to fold their parties, and these have been their scooping baskets, I think they are worried men. So Rigathi Gachagua may not really do much together with Wetangula, even given an opportunity in 2027, when William Ruto, the President of the Republic of Kenya, is in good terms with the honor of the people, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. They will see dust. If something misleads them to try go against the duo, theirs is over. Their case is done.
But
because I had a conversation, by the way. Let me just be. Let me not be secretive much about this. I had a conversation with my at least 5 friend MPs from Kenya Kwanza side, and from our conversation, I mean, Simba, things are very different. Things have changed. Regarding Gachagua, the DP is an isolated man. These young men, these young parliamentarians have decided that we are headed this direction. This is a fact, and this was last week. If I'm not wrong, we had this conversation. I can tell you, the trainers left the station. Things are moving, because not unless they strategize very well, they're really gonna miss a lot.
So somebody asked you this question then, Sankara. If indeed from within the coalition, Wetangula has read signs that it might not be in the conversation for 2027. That's why up to now, we've not seen any move from Wetangula to fold Kenya and join, or want to join UDA. But we've seen the same move from Musalia Mudavadi, who's already is in plans to actually fold ANC.
But he has been told off to just leave ANC and join UDA as an individual.
So if indeed that is the incentive, then somebody somewhere, in terms of ranking, what do you put Wetangula and Mudavadi, if in terms of ranking in priority in UDA?
You know, 2 madmen cannot survive in the same market. One must chase the other out. Just with animals, 2 cocks cannot grow in the same compound. One must give time for the other. So William Ruto is the bull of the moment. And Wetangula is a seasoned politician. That one I would give it to him. He is not a pushover. because this is the only man who carried his tag alongside himself. In any negotiation table, Wetangula has never been on the receiving end. He has always been a benefactor. Even in the UDA, even in the Kenya Kwanza electoral victory, Musalia never benefited much because Musalia has been reduced to a puppet and a man who cannot speak on anything but to advertise what papers he has been given. While Wetangula was given the power to make choices because of numbers. Yeah, so Wetangula is a schemer. He is a friend of mine. I've met him in places. Then I look at how my former boss or colleague Musalia carries himself out and how Weta carries himself out. Then I used to call him Simba wa Roma. Papa wa Roma ni mtu anajielewa, anajua kupanga kazi. Unajua in politics, if you tell someone kupanga kazi is a very, very deep statement. He knows how to work his things out. And even in this, during these turbulent times, I know he will surface.
Yes.
As not as a loser, but all arrows are pointing, indicators are pointing to a direction of a loser, because you've been whom you are courtesy of people. Then back at home, you are now facing a very rigorous rebellion. Then back in the city, you're also facing frustrations left, right, and center. Yes. So just as I said, it's either Wetangula ship in, shape up, or ship out.
That's it.
But again, the merger of political parties should not be a mandatory thing. It should be a voluntary step.
So if you look then at what the aim would be, I mean, Wetangula has a say in the Western vote basket, and you would like to think Gachagua would also have a say in the central vote basket.
But things have changed.
If it is for them to have a say, then isn't that a good plan? That whether you like it or not, we're going to join hands so that in the event that any other person would want to win in these particular areas, they still have to come and talk to us so that we can iron out a deal.
I said the bromance between the second in command and the third in command, I think that makes sense,
yes,
is a bromance out of circumstances. It is a bromance that has been birthed by frustrations and underratings from Kenya Kwanza. So these guys are trying to team up to show William Ruto a middle finger that should you try to manipulate me as Rigathi Gachagua and Wetangula, and you know we've served with you in the government as number 1, 2. You are number 1, I'm number 2, is number 3. We're going to show you dust. But the combination may also not really, because it may not also be underrated much, in as much as say when Raila and Ruto works together, these two gentlemen cannot do anything. I was in Kenya Kwanza and I understand whose efforts, when it calls for financial muscles, made Kenya Kwanza what it is today. Rigathi Gachagua should not be underrated. He is a billionaire. He has money. Politics, if you have money, money can sell you. So, and Wetangula also been in government since I was a toddler. I mean, these guys, they must be looked at keenly, but based on the prevailing political circumstances and even the future politics, they have no place. These young men have decided, just as young parliamentarians are saying, even qua ground, the people are saying it is time for us. So the circumstances will not favor them. Yeah, but that tells you that Kenya Kwanza is no longer intact, and that's something I said ab initio, that Kenya Kwanza is not a coalition that was formed out of goodwill and unity.
Yes.
It was a coalition formed based on prevailing circumstances. And the strategy was to win elections. But the interest of everyone wasn't put into consideration fully. So things have begun to boil, and the eggs are soon splitting into two. and maybe we only wait to see the rapture, the climax of the rapture.
Yes.
The cracks have already started.
Does that?
Yeah.
So here's the thing, take a minute to respond to this, because this is the only time that we have left for this particular conversation, Sankara, that if somebody wanted to have a proper picture for RUTO in the running for the 2027 elections, it will be split the central part of the country, which is the north, the central part where Gachagua hails from, just keep on dividing it as much as you can.
Which he has succeeded in doing.
That's it. So the only hole that you need is Nyanza and Western. So far, we're already reading the bromance from RUTO and Raila Amolo Odinga. And if indeed you're going to judge this particular movement, you will see that Musalia Mudavadi is well favored in this particular conversation, and the conversation about how the Tawe movement is a sponsored movement. Would you say that he is succeeding at sort of decentralizing the central part of the country in his favor? 1 minute, Sankara.
Remember, the president is a schemer. What I give, the only credit I give to President William Ruto is political chess game. That guy is smart. He goes to Meru, he installs a regional kingpin. He goes to Kirinyaga, he has someone to call shots. Then he goes to Kiambu, there is someone there. So there is nothing like Mount Kenya kingpin. It is regional. When he goes to Nyoro's constituency, Ndindi is the best. And the same thing you see Baba is doing. He's managing people politically. So William Ruto succeeded in creating a division within Mount Kenya. People are no longer speaking from one point. Everyone is speaking for himself. In politics, never see anything and assume it is out of nowhere. Everything is well schemed, well executed to achieve a particular objective. So the objective was to neutralize the regional kingpinship, where someone wants to use people to bargain. He has succeeded in doing that. He has now transcended to Western Kenya. Because in Nyanza, we are somehow very tough people. You know, dealing with Luos is not like smearing butter on bread. It is quite difficult. It's like plucking off, feathers from an old cock. It's not easy. So, in Western Kenya, the Tawe movement is building up with new faces. And then there are people here. So, to sum it up, the president has succeeded in his agenda. The agenda is not to have one person calling shots for everyone. It is to have people speaking alternatively. So when he goes to Kiambu and Wamatangi tries to speak otherwise, Kirinyaga boss will speak in support with Meru boss, and the Kiambu boss is neutralized. Mount Kenya in majority, because in politics, majority have their way, minority have their say.
Pretty much. Guess what? Take him back to the time that he walked into the studio this morning, online at Lookuptv, across all your social media platforms. Ken Sankara giving us his view on the bigger political issues happening in the country, all the way from the doctor strike to the members of parliament's move in stopping the paying of school fee through the 22222 pay bill number, as we wait to see exactly what happens on that particular one. Ken, always a pleasure having you in the studio, man. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Guess what? We take a tiny breather. Once we come back, we're going to look at other issues that are pertinent to the country. Road safety at a time when accidents are rising across the country. Some companies have thought about what is the problem, and they are out to solve it. Once we come back right here on the Morning Drift.
The winner of the 32nd edition, representing also the EMC, Weldon Langat.
Every time you play Lotto, 25% goes to the Lotto Foundation, which supports our fellow Kenyans through various